Hello, welcome to the sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series in Indianapolis. I'm Nick Miller alongside Eric Rill. How you doing?
Good.
Four-time Open Series winner right here, Eric Rill.
Yep.
Not a stranger to the sideboard.
No.
You've been here before. You've also been here before with Edric Spymaster Trest. Now,
yeah. Last time that one ended well, so.
Right, you have a pretty good track record with the Commander/Conspiracy All-Star.
I'd like to do what I did with Young Pyromancer and be the first and second person to win in a Legacy Open with it, so.
We'll see what we can do. What you're bringing to the table here, a blue-green Vengevine deck we're calling Cloud Vine.
Yeah.
Aptly named because you want to get on Cloud 9, all that.
Yep.
Cedric has already made the joke on stream, so we've got that
Nice.
knocked out. Talk to me what you're doing with this deck. You've got just stuff all over the place. You got Intuition packages, you got Fauna Shaman, Green Sun Zenith. What's the goal here?
So basically, there's a couple angles. It's kind of half of an Elves deck. You have, the Deathrite and Green Sun and all that jazz. And instead of like Glimpse, you have a Green Sunnable Glimpse in Edric Spymaster.
Right.
But basically, it's a Vengevine deck. Ideally, you want to play a turn 1 Mana Dork, a turn 2 Intuition for 3 Vengevines, and turn 3 you can do a lot of things.
Right.
Gaia's Cradle is a really busted Magic card, and
You explain this to me as like your favorite cube deck to play.
Kind
so
of.
you've got all these interactions.
You can't have 3 Vengevines in Cube though, so.
Well, everything else. You can Intuition for all this crazy stuff. You got Cloud of Fairies with Gaia's Cradle. So
Yeah.
you got ramp there.
Last round I won on turn 3 both games
Right.
with had just good Gaia's Cradle draws where game 1 I played turn 2 Fauna Shaman, turn 3 I drew the second Vengevine that turn, which just made it even crazier.
Right.
But then I pitched Vengevine, go get Quirion Ranger, wherever that is, untap, pitch the second Vengevine to go get Craterhoof, I think, and I already had a Cloud Fairies in hand and a Cradle out, so at that point I could just untap, float 6, and cast Hoof, and trigger back both the Vengevines.
Right. So like
Turn
you said,
3.
you have the
So-
elves. You have the elves like super fast combo stuff with you can just get Craterhoof. I like what you got here.
Yeah, we have
The
some different
Elf
Green Sun targets.
Yeah.
Edric is a good one, obviously, and we're playing 3 Edric and 2 Fauna Shaman, because this one is kind of, you can Green Sun for it, turn 2 it doesn't matter, and it's not really relevant when you're bringing back Vengevines already, whereas Edric is like, you want it to be the second creature you cast that brings Vengevines, so you draw cards that turn immediately and get value. And
Titania.
Yeah,
This
so
is
we
what
have,
it's all about, right here.
I wanted a kind of stopgap guy when you can't quite have enough mana. You don't quite have the infinite mana Cradle yet to get Hoof, but something that can like win on its own. And it could have been like Deranged Hermit would have
Right.
been good with Edric, was another thing I was thinking about. Or, I don't know. This guy seems sweet though, and it's a new card and it's powerful and wanted to play with it. So it gets back a fetch land in this most of the time. Or the really nutty draws are when you have double Cradle draws and you have your Cradle, tap for mana, play second Cradle to Legend Rule it, play Titania, get the second Cradle back, and it makes even more mana because now you've made guys.
So you're making
And,
5/3s. You're getting just
and it's
a
basically
ton
free
of
because
mana.
it gets a Cradle back. So.
Right. Seems pretty broken there. You've got
And
your,
it's just at least 2 5/3s for 5 mana, so it's just wins on its own pretty easily. E-Witness is, I had it as Shardless Agent for a bit, but that's where I started the list out.
Right.
But because of the Green Sun and everything, Shardless just wasn't that consistent in this. So this is kind of my 2 guys for 1 card thing for Fauna Shaman if you only have 1 thing and you need to be able to play 2 guys for Vengevine. And also just, get back a Force of Will so you're safe against whatever out they could have is like pretty relevant.
All right, so let's talk about the blue splash. You've got your Brainstorms, obviously going to be very good, but your only real permission here is Force of Will until you get to the sideboard.
Getting to play Brainstorm and Green Sun Zenith in the same deck feels awesome. It makes it like super consistent because like that's what the green decks have Green Sun to make their self-consistent because it's their mana dork or their late game engine, and then Brainstorm also helps in the same regard. So it's like feels like a lot of the draws are real similar. And
So you just have multiple ways that you can shuffle away bad cards from the Brainstorm. You have
Yeah.
fixings. You got
Green
your
Sun's good at any point. It's going to get the best guy on your curve whenever. I
got
think
your-
I lost
sorry.
that round on camera I played because I didn't Green Sun for Fauna Shaman turn 3. But
This is your first match, so we'll give you we'll give you a pass on a slip up there.
yeah.
This deck's pretty sweet. Vengevine is a card that hasn't seen a lot of Legacy play since like Caleb was doing his thing.
Yeah, I just want to
making it
make sure
broken.
people realize that Survival should stay banned.
Yeah.
So,
All right, let's talk about the sideboard here. you have a lot of ways to fight the unfair decks in here. So you've got Flusterstorms.
Yeah, we have
and
our usual
Thoughtseizes.
anti-combo cards. You want it to not be dead to combo. Basically, every deck in Legacy has a bad game one against combo, and then you board in more things like that. And then I just have a lot of versatile kind of other threats in the board so we can generic answers and different threats. So we can board a lot of ways into being anything from this like elves-like deck to like a bug control deck with planeswalkers and decays.
Yeah, abrupt decays are nice, but I want to talk about your planeswalker choice in here. Sure, you got a Jace the Mind Sculptor. You got Garruk hanging out in here, and not just any Garruk, the 4-mana Garruk.
Wild Speaker has been pretty good. I played him in Enchantress the last Legacy Open, and it was actually like overperformed. It was really good. And I think in the Gaia's Cradle deck, you know, you can kind of sneak it out there for free a lot. And just in the kind of grindy, like non-Delver bug decks and like miracles and stuff, having the sort of non-wrathable threats against them, I think is really good. Just coming from another angle.
Yeah, you got a Venser, Notion Thief, and Vendilion Clicks as your kind of utility creatures / hate cards.
Clicks are real good against combo, and against Deathrite Shaman decks. I mean, if you can get them there, you can play one guy and pass, and they go to Deathrite your Vengevines, and you flash your second creature and trigger them. But
so as a Delver player and a Storm player as you are, what brings you to something like this?
I'm just an everything player, and I always have goofy brews, and I finally put this one together, and it's been sweet. I think it's got. We'll see how good it is, but so far, I mean, last round, I wish that was the round on camera. It did some cool things.
Yeah, just 2 turn 3s, no problem.
Yeah,
it looked pretty good.
He
game
just
one
kind of
on
sat
camera.
there and watched. Game 2, I think it was like I had double Cloud and a Gaia's Cradle, and I intuition that turn and brought all my Vengevines and then hoofed him on turn 3. So.
All right, well, Eric, you're no stranger to our Legacy scene here. Your deck is sweet. You got all the favorite cards that you like to play. I'm glad to see it. Thanks for sitting down with me here in the sideboard. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Indianapolis.